Welcome to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, presented by Yamaha.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and kids, to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. I'm Bree Gabrielle, and this, of course, is Rick Murphy, and we have an extra special show tonight, don't we, Rick?
Man, we got kids overload going on in here.
We really do, yes, and as you can see, our studio is overloaded with children and future fishing anglers, which is awesome. And throughout the show, we're going to have all kinds of great information on kids fishing camps around the state. But first, let's say hi to Mr. Dave.
Dave, how are you today?
We're surrounded with angels straight from heaven, every one of them.
Every one of them, and their parents, of course. Now, Rick, this is one of your favorite shows because I know you love to see the future generations learning and loving to fish.
Absolutely, Bree. And you know, the thing that's so cool, looking at the saltwater sportsman photos, is just certainly whether you fish with a spinning rod, you can go offshore, we can go inshore. Looking at the next picture, obviously really important to make sure the kids stay safe and wear their life jackets. Now, David Hansen, who is one of our fans from the University of Central Florida, he actually sent in a couple pictures of his boys that they had this past weekend. So way to go, David.
Nice.
Get those kids, keep them out fishing, and we got to get going, Bree.
Got some snooks on there.
Yeah.
All right, to start us off is Captain Ronnie Houston in the Southwest region with a few tips for parents on how to get their kids out on the water. Hi, Ronnie.
Hey, Bree, you know, not only is this a very special show, but it's also a very special weekend. I'd like to wish my father a happy Father's Day, as well as all those fathers out there. So kids, it's special for you today, but kids and mom, make sure you take care of Dad over the weekend. But when it comes to kids fishing, to get them started at a young age requires patience and really keeping things simple. Keeping them busy by catching something, whether it's as simple as live shiners in a pond, lake, or canal, or even by buying a loaf of bread with some small hooks and corks, looking around the edges for simple fish like bluegill or brim and Oscars. Just simply take the bread out, chum them up. Size doesn't matter. Catching them keeps kids in the game. You got to understand, when we go fishing, there's bite times, there's tides, there's moons and winds. Those kids are out of the game. They're not going to be interested. But live shrimp in the passes or the beaches or near shore wrecks will catch mackerel, jacks, ladyfish, snappers. Even a block of chum in either of the areas I've mentioned will attract fish. Simple things like bucktails or even bass assassin sea shads on a jig head. Throw them out, let the tail do the work. Gold spoons will always catch something. And don't forget to load up with pilchards, which are easily right now. Throw handfuls out, it will attract fish. Remember, keeping kids busy, if not, they will become disinterested. And in time, they will understand fish don't bite all the time, and then they will eventually move up and go on to bigger and better things. And I got a couple special pictures. Picture number one should be Cole Widener with a peacock bass, and Jackson Widener with a redfish. And this is some of the things when you're smaller and you get a little older and learn, kids have to look forward to.
Hey, great pictures, Ronnie. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the navionics from your region. Now, guys, we're talking about Big Marco Pass. Now, Captain Ronnie, looking at the sonar soundings, what I've noticed here is there's some certain depressions. We got some great areas here. He's telling me that the snook are holding on to in this area, as well as all the bait is poised out here on the outside parts of the beaches. Now, you can go and get your live bait in the morning, and you can then certainly move right on in here, and that'll allow you to be in position to catch a tarpon or even maybe a big snook. Right, Ronnie?
That's right, Rick. You know, on the inshore side, we got the snook. Now, here we go, early morning high or late afternoon incoming to the top of the high. Concentrating along the beaches from Marco to Boca Grande. Now, what you want to do is you want to pattern blowdowns, rock piles, bait schools, edges of the beach, at the high, or the first one or two troughs out from the edges. Now, you can fish these areas in a boat or walking the beach. Simple baits like silver spoons, bucktails and white, yellow, or chartreuse, live pilchers, lip plugs, and white or red, all will work. And I got another special picture for Father's Day weekend. Caitlin Hood wanted to surprise her dad. He doesn't get to watch much TV at all. All he does is tape this show when he has time to watch TV. She wanted to show her dad a very special picture of a snook he caught down in Big Marco Pass, a 38-inch snook. So good job, Caitlin Hood. Now, on the offshore side, we want to concentrate on the Spanish mackerel. From Marco Island to Fort Myers Beach, from the beach line to 8 miles out, fishing large bait schools, head pins, and wrecks. Also in these areas, while you're running, look for plenty of diving birds. You'll probably see these fish on the surface. Once you locate these fish, simple baits like silver spoons, white bucktails, live shrimp, and pilchards will work. Now, one little tip, try not to use leader. I suggest wire, and if you do use a leader, try to make the knot small. Guys, cut off the tag ends. If not, chances are you'll get cut off. Right now, typical size of the Spanish mackerel is a 1.5 to 5 pounds. Also on the offshore side, we've got the cobias. Reports have been good. Sanibel to Stump Pass, fishing wreck anywhere from 8 to 20 miles out, looking for fish on top, or some guys have told me following the turtles and the rays. Once you get around these areas, anchor up, chime live baits, or put out a chum bag to draw the fish to you. Have live baits ready, such as pinfish, bunt, thread fins, to pitch the fish on top, or simply look at your bottom finder. Hopefully they'll show up at the bottom, or drop baits down at the bottom, even if you don't see them with a chum bag out, to track these fish. And typical size for these fish, 20 to 40 pounds. And like I said, I want to wish all those dads out there a happy Father's Day from the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report.
Great job, Ronnie. Way to start us off. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Florida Outdoor Experience hotspots from the Southwest region. Inshore, trout, Pavilion Key to Wood Key. Last half of the outgoing and the first half of the incoming along the grass flats. 2 to 4 feet of water using soft plastics, bucktails, and live shrimp. And then offshore, permit and snappers, Indian Key to Gordon's Pass, fishing wrecks, 6 to 15 miles out using live crab, shrimp, and chum bag to draw the fish up, Bree.
Rick, every week we stand in front of these beautiful mounts from King Sailfish, right?
Absolutely.
Well, we want to thank them because they are giving away a $50 gift certificate to one of the kids on set tonight for a mount. So that's very exciting.
Way to go, guys.
Way to go. All right, but now we're moving on up to the Central East region with Captain Jim Ross, whom I went fishing with this past weekend, and he's like a kid himself. Hey, Jim.
Oh, hey, Bree, we had a big time, didn't we?
We did.
I tell you what, and just like we need to be entertained, we need to keep the kids entertained if they're going to stay focused on fishing.
That's correct.
So you parents out there, keep that in mind, and only keep them out as long as the fish are biting, or as long as the kids are having fun. Real fast-paced action with speckled trout can be one of the better ways that you can get them involved, and you can look for them in the 2 to 4 foot grass flats right now in the Banana River, the Indian River, and the Mosquito Lagoon. The thing right now that I've been using is a 4-inch assassin sea shad. And I'm putting it on that 1/8 or 1/4 ounce jig head, depending on how deep of water I'm fishing it in right now. Now, most kids kind of have a trouble getting that lure and pulling it out of the grass. And so what I recommend for the kids is an Assassin Quick Cork, and it's got rattles on it, so they can pop it and rattle it, and they have a much better chance of catching the fish because they're keeping those jigs out of the grass. Now, if you don't want to use jigs, you can use live pigfish, which also make their own noise, or you can put shrimp, instead of that jig if you like. Now, we've also got some bluefish and some ladyfish, some jacks, and you know what? Kids don't care. Even a puffer, just anything that adds variety to the day's catch is a big time for them. And if you're fishing in the freshwater side, try brim fishing instead of bass fishing. You can use small minnows that you can catch along the shoreline of your little lake or pond that you're fishing near. And you know what? Catching the bait is just as much fun as going out and catching the fish themselves in many cases, because they get to dip net them and put them in a bucket and do all kinds of really cool stuff. And there's the fun part about it that really matters to the kids. So no matter what you do, take that adventure, put the family together, and get everybody outside playing and spending quality time together. Now, here's a picture that Captain Glenn Austin sent me in from a recent trip that he had this past week. And it's Rachel Welch, and this is a gigantic snook that she caught. And I tell you what, if you look at the smile on that kid's face, I think I'd be smiling like that if I caught one that big myself.
You're right, Jim. What else you got for us inshore?
Speckled trout is our species, and I know I kind of touched on them in the kids segment, but I'll tell you right now, the Central East region has very strong numbers of them right now. The glass minnows and fingerling mullet are in many areas of the lagoon, and if you can find those two bait fish together, you're going to take and really get some good catches. Right now, the pinfish are also mixed in with them in some places, and if you can find that scenario where you have all three types of bait, man, the trout are going nuts. Now, we've been throwing a lot of Rapala-style plugs, especially the little X-Raps and also the little Shad Rap Shallows. And the Shad Rap Shallow is kind of a sleeper for those fish because it only goes down about 2 feet and keeps right above the grass, but it's a great little pinfish imitator if you get it in the green back with the white and silver side, or if you get it in the perch color. So try those. Also, the saltwater assassin lures are working really good, like I mentioned before. That 4-inch sea shad, just keep moving around until you find the schools of trout right now. And when you find them, you're going to hook fish that are anywhere from about 10 to about 20 inches. Now, topwater plugs are also good, and also some swim baits. Now, I've got a picture here of Andrew Gillantine with a gigantic Central East Florida trout that he caught here recently. And I tell you what, whether you're just catching brim with a stick in a string in a pond, or you're doing like Andrew did and you're going out there and you're finding a fish of a lifetime, no matter what it is, it's all about going out there and making memories, and that's exactly what we want you to do with the kids. Now, Rick, swinging offshore, we got mangrove snapper. The offshore crowd's still waiting for this full moon to come up, but I tell you what, the snappers are starting to gather up on the reefs. I talked with Captain Joe Smith recently, and he said that they had some really good ones out of Sebastian. They're getting ready to spawn on this next moon, and we're going to get some of the biggest snapper of the year. And anglers are going out there and chumming and then putting cut baits out and drifting them back in the chum, and that's the best way to get those really big ones. We're using little hooks, though, little 2X or 3X hooks in like a 1/0 or 2/0 size, and we're using 30 to 40-pound fluorocarbon leaders because the snappers are pretty wary. But you know what? It doesn't really matter if you're fishing at night. You can get away with a little bit more. Right now, the mangrove snappers are running anywhere from about 4 to 8 pounds, but when this next moon comes, we're going to be getting fish consistently to 10 pounds and even above. And so we're looking forward to this next month's full moon phase coming up. And our last species is amberjack. And reef donkeys is the best action around in the Central East region right now. The wrecks in 180 to 240 feet seem to be holding them throughout the region. And most of the anglers that I've talked to are still using live pinfish or pogies because that seems to be the best way to get a bite. Now, if you're one of those younger kids, the under 40 crowd, let's say, and you want to do some jigging, right now is a good time to jig for these fish. 12 to 20 ounce nylon hair jigs or any of the vertical speed jigs work really good. Now, whichever type you want to use, make sure that you try to get one that has a glow in it, because once you start getting on those deeper wrecks, the glow definitely increases your strike ratio, Rick. Especially the Williamson Vortex and Benthos models. Those are really popular, and they're great artificials to use on those amberjacks. Now, presentation is the key because you want that thing to look like a fleeing bait, so you really want to get all the effort you can into that jigging, and that's why I say the younger kids are a little better at it than the little older guys. But you know what? Doesn't matter. On any day, you can go out there and catch amberjack 30 to 50 pounds over those wrecks right now. And I'm telling you, you're going to get one that's going to be that 70-pound reef donkey that's going to kick your you-know-what if you don't pay attention.
All right.
Hey, you know what? You know what else, Rick? I was going to say, we haven't mentioned it in quite some time, but the audio reports that we do every single week for the regions throughout the state, the listeners need to go to listen to those audio reports because whenever there's something relevant, they allow you to get a tune-up on what's going on when you're not watching the show.
Absolutely. Great reminder, Jim. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hookup lure hotspots from the Central East region. Inshore, snook at Sebastian Inlet losing live pigfish on VMC 7385 circle hooks. And then offshore, amberjack on the copper wreck use live pinfish on a standard bottom rig. Now with me, guys, we have Ray Waddell from the FYCCN as well as Carla Fernandez. Now, Ray, tell us what's been going on with the FWC and FYCCN.
Well, one of FWC's highest priorities is to create the next generation that cares about conservation, and the way we're doing that is expanding our fishing programs throughout the state. We're partnering with sites around to provide fish camp programs as summer camps. And this summer we have 40 locations that are providing that, 92 weeks of camp. So over 2,000 kids are going to get a 40-hour comprehensive fish camp program, and it's all because of donations that license buyers provide to us.
Wow. So tell me a little bit about the camps. What happens in those camps?
Well, it's comprehensive. They come in, they get a tackle box full of tackle. They learn everything from the pieces of tackle in there, how to work those lures, casting techniques, how to catch fish, how to take them off, everything they need to know. Cleaning, from cleaning, catching, eating, cooking. So they leave having the knowledge and the gear necessary to be anglers.
Sounds like something that I'd like to do. You know, Carla, now, I'm an angler. So what can I do to help or to even participate?
There's a few different ways that you can help us out. First of all, just by buying a fishing license or permit. When you go and you buy that online, there is a page that'll go and prompt you to go ahead and make a donation. You can make a donation from anywhere from $5 all the way up to $100. If you're at a store or calling over the phone, you can just let the cashier know that you're interested in donating for the youth programs.
Now, a guy like myself have a long-term license. Maybe I'm a guy that has a lifetime license or a 5-year license. So I'm not going to be renewing anytime soon. can we donate in another way? How would we go about that?
Of course, we're not going to say no to you. If you want to donate, you can go onto our website. It's fyccn.com, and you can click on donate. You can make a donation of any size, and you can also let us know where you want those funds to go to. So if you're interested in fishing, you can keep it there.
Wow, that sounds really exciting. Great news from the FWC. Girls, thank you so much for being here. I'm looking forward to working with you guys some more. But Bree, I've got to work with you now, so where are we going next?
Yes, you do. Look at all those cute kids behind you. All right, guys, don't start squirming in your seats just yet. Coming up on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, we're headed up to the Panhandle region and then going off the deep end with Dave and Allie. How's it going over there, Guy?
It's going good.
That looks like fun.
It's Bread Ball 101 over here.
All right, looks like fun. We'll see you guys when we get back.
That's delicious.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation. Humminbird. Simply, clearly, better. Decks and Docks Lumber Company. Florida's dock and seawall supplier. And King Sailfish Mounts. www.kingsailfish.com.
When we created the Silverado Rally Edition, we figured, why stop there? These 4 new Silverado Special Editions are just the beginning. From this year's fastest-growing full-size truck brand, Chevy Silverado. Or choose this Silverado All-Star with a total value of $8,000 when you finance through select lenders, and find your bonus tag and get an additional $1,000 to $2,000 cash allowance on select vehicles in stock.
Yamaha's next generation V6 4-strokes are changing the game.
Mid-range power was awesome. Fuel, the burn, it's unbelievable.
Couldn't believe the speed and the fuel economy is pretty impressive.
I couldn't believe the power. It was like it was more like doing a quarter mile on a drag strip.
And them things are like, it's a whole nother game. So I made the switch.
Experience the difference for yourself during the Yamaha Discover V6 Offshore Demo Tour. See why we call it a game changer.
It's been said that a bad day of fishing is better than a good day at the office. But down here in the Florida Keys, we have to disagree. Because with over 200 of the world's best charter boat captains and guides, there's no such thing as a bad day of fishing. The Florida Keys and Key West.
Time for the FWC News and Notes. June 27th, there's a kids fishing clinic in Cape Canaveral. July 11th, there's another kids fishing clinic in Palm Coast. We're all about the kids, as you can see. For more information, visit myfwc.com. Now it's time to go off the deep end.
Hey everybody, we're back here in the Kids Corner today. We got Allie Hobson, friend of the show. She's brought her children in, and some other people. Just one child.
Just one. No.
Don't want to put anything else on you. But we're talking a little bit about getting kids fishing. And one of the first things we want to talk about, is some of the guys mentioned it, was attention spans.
Oh yeah, and it's pretty short when it comes to the little ones and fishing, but for the most part they seem to enjoy it, and it's quick and over pretty fast, but at the same time it's very enjoyable and they absolutely love it.
Yeah, you don't want to plan, a 4-hour trip, try to keep things down to an hour or less. Once your kids get over 7 or 8, you can start, getting that longer, but once they're under say 6 or 5, you want to keep it a little shorter.
Definitely.
And you want to have some action. So one of the things that you want to do to make sure you're going to get some action is get to a spot where there's something there.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I started out as a kid, was like the ponds and lakes and little canals in Miami, South Florida, and full of brim. Brim are one of the easiest fish to catch and use basically bread balls here, like these kids are
Right,
using.
and little tiny hooks. If you want to make sure that you just about catch every fish that bites, you want to use really tiny, small hooks and stuff. That way, when they eat it, they're gonna get a hook in it, and you don't have to worry about kids getting hurt with these tiny little hooks. You might get a little prick in them, but if you go ahead and flatten down the barbs, it'll keep them from going all the way in.
Just take a set of pliers, pop it down, and that way it's easier to get the fish off for them.
Yeah, and it's easy to get out of everything. And what thing you want to do is, you get yourself some, when they first start out, you want to get something that's pretty much indestructible, because they're going to be using it for a sword, or to whack the kid next to them, or banging it off the dock.
They're going to be breaking apart pretty easily.
The little ugly sticks and whatnot like that, because they don't cost that much and they're almost indestructible.
Exactly.
Pure fiberglass is what you want to use.
And if for some crazy reason they don't pick it up, you didn't spend a whole lot of money on it.
Correct. And they are going to mess things up.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a big deal about whether you want to use real heavy line or real light line.
I would say definitely a little bit heavier.
Unless you want to be
reason for that.
tying off
constantly,
because they're going to be throwing it into stuff, and you're going to be tying more and more hooks, and if you use really light line, you're going to be busting them off over and over again. Use real heavy line. Almost too heavy for them to break.
Right.
And if it's too light and they're pulling, and it breaks on them, they can get themselves hurt with a rod tip or jerk something out.
Yeah.
Use a heavier
line is better when it comes to these kiddos.
Also, we don't want to have to worry about them putting action on a lure or anything.
Right.
So some of the stuff that we want to pick are things that have all the action in them already. Like lipped plugs. Like some of these Rapala plugs.
Exactly. Got these guys here.
With some of these single hooks and whatnot.
Yep.
Like the Miradine.
Yep.
And the spoons as well.
Here are even good.
Now, when you go to live bait, Allie, that's where you brought some stuff in here for the live bait.
For live bait, one of the things down in like South Florida as well, we have saltwater canals and stuff like that. And another good fish for them to go after would be like mangrove snapper, little mangrove snapper and stuff like that. A good way to get those guys going is set up a little chum bag. You can buy chum in any of your local bait store. Get that in the water, get those fish going crazy. And live shrimp is key. For one, it's really fun to kind of watch them with the live shrimp, getting them out of the bucket. They're flipping around.
They're playing with something.
Oh yeah, they're having a good time. So if that's not enough, then catching small, little mangrove snapper will be good too. So we just get like a small little, 1/0 circle hook, 2/0 circle hook. And then we got our live shrimp here. And let me grab one of those guys. And just want to go ahead and hook it back here behind.
You want to go ahead and put him on there?
All that dark stuff there. And this way, it's kind of through the hard part of the shell there. And that way, when they're dropping it and going with it, it won't
He's
pass
going
off
straight down. Put a little split shot on there.
And then another way to get it down to where the
You want to get a crab.
Another way to get down to where all the fish are is put a little split shot on there, just a little lead weight, and just pinches on, and then drops it down to where the fish are there. So.
Right. Well, we got some bread balls out here too.
Yeah, we do.
Because that's what we're usually catching. We got a little picture of my little girl. She actually caught a little brim right out on the dock today, right before she got down here on a little bread ball. On this little rod right here this was the exact same one. That's her. Go Gators. She loves Molly Moo loves the
That's
Gators
awesome.
too.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you guys want to make a bread ball for these things, the bread ball, a lot of guys they'll go for the edge. I like the doughy middle of the bread ball because it makes a really good tight ball that we can put right on here. But you don't want to make them too big. You just want to cover up the hook just perfect.
And if you need a snack in the meantime.
They are delicious.
The kids have been
Did you
eating the
make a bread
here.
ball? That's about the right size you want right there. Even maybe a little smaller. You don't want to make them too big because the brim will tear them all to pieces instead of swallowing them whole. And we want them to try to swallow it whole. Huh? That is a small one. That's a perfect
actually,
one.
right there.
Yeah, well, we're going to take these bread balls back over to you guys. Have a good time over there. Yeah, I know that there's a bunch of kids over there who could use these for sure.
Oh, man, you're making me hungry. And Rick, I feel left out because you and Amanda have amazing Costa sunglasses on.
During the commercial break, we have lots of giveaways, and Amanda won the Costas.
Whoa.
So she and I thought we would sport them in this next
Well,
segment.
you guys are looking good.
Yeah,
All right, now Pat Deneen from the Panhandle region has raised his daughter Katie on the water fishing, so listen up from the pro.
I tell you what, this is probably the best time of the year to get kids on the water fishing in the Panhandle. School's out, the weather is usually really dependable, and there are plenty of species to target out in the Gulf, the red snapper, the kingfish, they're definitely obliging right now, and they'll really pull. They're going to come in large sizes, and they're good eating. And most kids I take a fishing, can we eat it? Can we eat it? Can we eat it? And yes, you can eat both those two species. In the bay, the bluefish, the ladyfish are pretty much the go-to fish for the small anglers. There are plenty of them. They bite aggressively. They jump. And then as far as organized kids fishing events, the one that comes to mind every year is Harbor Docks Take a Kids Fishing Day. It happens in early November. Literally, they host hundreds of kids on the water for a day of fishing on a destined charter boat. The kids are treated to a breakfast before the trip, a fishing trip on a charter boat, and then lunch after the trip. And usually they go home with a fishing rod. And make sure your child is a member of the CCA. Right now, the CCA Florida Star Tournament, for children that are members of the tournament or members of the CCA, it's free to enter. There's divisions for trout, ladyfish, redfish, bunch of inshore species. Entry into the tournament, like I said, is free. And you know what? The prizes include a scholarship for college as well as other stuff. So that's really a cool stuff.
Yeah.
Staying inshore, the heat, it's been very hot. The trout bite has been best first hour and a half of daylight and also the low light conditions at the end of the day. By far the best action seems to be coming from St. Joe Bay, fishing live baits on the flats edges, the channels with potholes. In Choctawhatchee Bay, we've been fishing the Sandestin area, casting soft plastics, and also live pogies and pilchards first thing in the morning. You can catch a whole lot of short fish that first hour and a half of daylight, and maybe a handful of keepers. And there are also some big redfish and Jack Crevalles cruising those flats. So have a couple rods ready in case they show up while you're there, to capitalize on that situation. There's a photo of two anglers fishing with Lucky Chucky over in the Sound. And they were lucky enough to have their stuff ready, and they caught two really big, fat redfish when that little blitz occurred. Moving offshore, the snappers are still open in state waters, and they're also open in federal waters for boats with federal permits. There's some good fish still being caught in both areas. It's all about structure, and often the small junk piles are producing the best fish. Captain Terry McGowan over in Panama City, he's had decades of experience fishing the Gulf, and he knows where those little small junk piles are, and he's been putting his anglers on quality fish every day, chumming them up in the water column, catch them on light tackle. Captain Tony Davis on the Anastasia and Destin, he can either fish state or federal waters, but lately he's been fishing mostly the state waters on those small little junk piles, catching 12 to 13 pound average fish. Use either a live cigar minnow or herring on a slip sinker rig, or drift back a cut bait with a no weight, just kind of free line it back there. And then also, finally, the king mackerel fishes, they remained very steady this summer. Whenever we get these rough conditions like we've had this past week, a strong east-southeast wind, the bite tends to turn on just outside the pass and also along the bar. Either slow troll a live bait on a stinger rig, or a lot of the crews have opted to start trolling some lip plugs, the Rapalas, 20s, the 30s, the diving plugs, and they're getting their king mackerels before heading offshore for the snappers. Many of the fish are 8 to 12 pounds, but there's definitely some bigger fish being caught over in Fort St. Joe. The tournament they had last week, there was the winning fish was over 50 pounds. The second and third fish were in the high 40s. So there are some bigger fish around, and the king mackerel bite has been very, very dependable.
All right, good report from the Panhandle region, Pat. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the blue water outrigger hotspots from the Panhandle region. Inshore, tarpon off of the Oskaloosa Island Pier, casting storm swim baits, and then offshore, kingfish around the Destin Sea Buoy first thing in the morning on live baits, or you might want to troll those big plugs he was talking about, Bree.
Sounds good, Rick. Well, coming up on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, we're skipping on over to the Central, West, and East regions, so don't run off. We'll be right back. Look at all those kids getting their bread, little boy.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Bass Assassin and Saltwater Assassin, the best lures, period. Blue Water Outriggers, everything for your outdoor adventures. Guy Harvey Clothing by AFTCO. Drummond Community Bank. Costa Sunglasses. See what's out there. And Casa Vieja Lodge. 5-star angling in beautiful Guatemala.
I'm Captain Rick Murphy, and I'm a life member of CCA. Why am I so involved with CCA, you ask? Because I want our fisheries to be in better shape for my kids and their kids. CCA is working to ensure the future of recreational fisheries and the rights of recreational anglers. The future of fishing starts today with you. How do you want to leave things with your kids? If you're like me, you'll want to make the right choice and go to joinccaflorida.com right now.
Guatemala. Can a truck change how people feel about a guy? We talk to real people, not actors. We showed them two pictures of the same guy in the same location. The only difference, the vehicle behind him.
The guy with the truck would definitely have like a German Shepherd dog. I mean, come on. Like a tarantula, a rattlesnake.
What kind of pet would this guy have?
Maybe like some birds.
You know you want a truck. The all-new Chevy Colorado. Motor Trend's 2015 Truck of the Year.
One of the premier summer camps in South Florida is the IGFA Kids Camp, and Miss Haley just won a whole week, didn't you? Yay! Are you excited? Yeah! Yeah! I wish I could go with you. I'm not a kid anymore. Shoot!
I bet I can make that happen, Bree.
Really? You think?
Of course.
Well, they're going until August 14th, so make sure you sign your kids up. But guess what? We are going to take a look at the package that we filmed last week at IGFA, where you're going to be very soon. Let's take a look.
Today we brought our IGFA fishing camp to Dania Beach Pier, where we are catching houndfish, kudas, cowfish galore. The IGFA fishing camp is a 10-week-long camp where we teach the kids how to start fishing or advance their fishing, so knot tying, how to release fish, how to learn their regulations, what fish they can keep, IDing fish. We also teach the kids about marine biology, mammals, sharks, turtles.
I love to go fishing and I love being outside. And it's either coming to camp or staying inside and playing video games. So I love fishing and I love the counselors here too.
Well, I mean, I like to come to IGFA because it gives me time to hang out with friends and meet new people as well. We fish on boats. We go deep water fishing, drop off. We go on piers, sometimes we go to freshwater areas, but most of the time our destinations are saltwater. Last year and this year have been really good because, I mean, new people, new experiences, we get to go to different places and also new places. And I would like to come back next year.
The coolest part about fishing is that you could reel your fish in and how you catch the fish. And the funnest part is how I get to spend time with my friends and my family sometimes.
Some of our kids that are brand new to fishing never touched a hook, never touched a worm, never touched anything. And by the time they're done with the camp, they're so ecstatic that they can actually help not only their own siblings to learn how to fish, but that they learned how to do this, they can teach their parents how to do this, and that they had this whole huge week of fun and learning and just excitement, and they can't wait to come back again.
You ever caught a boxfish, Bree? That's what that was?
No, I caught a pufferfish though, and it was just as cute.
I saw that picture.
I know.
Awesome.
Rick, I went on the drift boat last year with this camp, and it was the most fun thing I've ever done. The kids were helping each other. They learned so much. So this is a great thing. Get your kids involved if you can.
I thought you said when you went with me, it was the funnest thing you ever did.
I did, and I meant that. Completely, wholeheartedly. But I know this captain, Jeff Page, loves to take kids out fishing, not to mention all the great opportunities the Central West region has to get kids out there. Right, Page?
That's right. I thought you said when you went fishing with me, that was the best.
You guys
time
are all my
had.
favorite, okay? But kids are a lot of fun.
Guys, in our Startron Central West region, we have a lot of youth anglers and a lot of fishing programs designed to encourage kids to get out and go fishing. From our annual Sarasota County Sheriff's Department Take a Kid Fishing Day to the annual Kids Fishing Derby that ties in with the Suncoast Offshore Grand Prix powerboat races, which is coming up in 4th of July weekend. We have lots of seminars at Economy Tackle, along with the CCA all-release youth division, and then down south in Punta Gorda, the Flats Masters Kids Cup, which has been going on since the ESPN Redfish Cup days. So lots of different things kids can get involved with in our region. I've got a couple of kids' photos tonight. First is 11-year-old Justice with a nice look he caught with me at the Sheriff's Youth Ranch event this year. And second, probably one of our more experienced youth anglers, 10-year-old Landon Ford and his dad, Doug Ford of CB Saltwater Outfitters, with a 36-inch girth tarpon he landed by himself.
All right, what else you got for me, Jeffrey? Inshore.
Species 2, inshore, speckled trout. Right now, Rick, with the water temperatures reaching 86, 87 degrees by midday, the majority of our trout have moved out to the deeper, cooler waters, say 5 to 7 foot grass flats. One tip, look for the clean green water and broken bottom. When I say broken bottom, I mean sand and grass mixture. Set up a drift to cover as much of that area as you can, throwing either the 4-inch saltwater assassin green moon sea shad on a 4-ounce hookup jig head, or the silver chartreuse mirror lure mix, or power pole down, start throwing live 3-line pilchards, grunt, or shrimp. If the grass becomes a problem, put a cork on them. Some of the better areas for fish, down south, Devilfish Key and Mondongo Flats, and then the flats off Whale Key and Long Bar, and then to the north, flats off Emerson Point and Rattlesnake Key. Remember, 5 to 7 feet of water is the key. Got a photo tonight of your friend Rick, 6-year-old Ada Folly, with her bunny ears on and a nice speckled trout she got.
What a cutie.
All right, what else
Look
you
at
got
that.
for us offshore, Jeffrey?
Easter bunny ears.
Offshore gags, blacks, both gags and black groupers. They're making guys that are making the trip out to the promised land. And when I say promised land, I mean 200 feet of water on out. They're getting rewarded with quality catches of big gags and blacks. Also some nice snapper too. The key is getting out there and finding the ledges and roll-offs and rock piles holding big bait stacks, and you're going to get rewarded. Captain Jason Sherrill of the Bad Habit out of Venice reports he's been limiting out on all his legal species, as well as releasing some big 20-pound-plus gags. Live pinfish, pilchards, cigar minnows have been the key. I got a photo tonight, Rick. Got to look at this one. Of a true 100-pound-plus carburetor that his client, Doug Whistler, caught on Jason's Bad Habit.
Captain Page, you got to find somebody to take me to catch one that big. Can you do that for me?
I got your man, Captain Jason.
All right, what else you got for me
Two
inshore?
mangrove snapper, short and sweet. Mangs coming off most of the wrecks and ledges. 75 to 100 feet of water. Live pinfish or select shrimp have been the ticket.
Great
You
report.
guys make sure you get out there and get you a Chevy truck.
All right, we will. Jeffrey, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the sea sucker hotspots from the Central West region. Inshore, mangrove snapper. Lots of nice 14 to 16-inch mangs throughout the entire region. The Skyway Bridge and most of the inlets and passes have them. And then offshore, red grouper holding on hard bottom and ledges in 110 to 140 feet of water. Look for the large bait stacks on your bottom machine.
I'm still shocked at the size of that fish. Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Holy
that's
mackerel.
That's a big group.
Right, holy grouper.
Holy
Okay,
grouper.
filling in for Mike Holiday today is Captain Ed Zayak from the East region with plenty of advice on how to keep those kitties busy.
Eddie, you there?
Hey,
Mr.
Rick,
Ed.
what's happening?
Tell us what's happening in your region when it comes to kids, bud.
Well, anytime, you're taking them kids fishing, and I like them a lot. I have a couple of my own, so I enjoy it. I always try to take them to places that they know and where you're going to get a lot of action. They don't really care about the biggest fish. They just want something on the other end of the line pulling. So up in my region, it's places like the Juneau Beach Pier, Lake Forest Fishing Pier, Jensen Beach Catwalk at the Causeway Catwalk on Southbridge and Fort Pierce, and any of the public beaches are great places to start. We're using the standard sinker rig with a number 2 hook, pieces of shrimp, or if you can cast net some pilchards, I put them under corks, which is great because they can wash the corks and they know when they get bit. A lot of fun. Places to get started. This weekend in my area, Bass Pro Shop in Port St. Lucie is holding their Gone Fishing event for the kids. It's the 20th and 21st. There's seminars all day long. And, kids they're never too young. You take them along to the fishing club. West Palm Beach Fishing Club is great. And along with the Palm Beach County Fishing Foundation, they host a Kids Fishing Day every summer. We also have the Michael Shields Memorial Fishing Tournament coming up in September. It benefits the Boys and Girls Club of Martin County. They put on a Kids Fishing Derby the same day, which is a huge event. The teen anglers in Fort Pierce hold monthly fishing contests for kids, through the high school age. That's just my region for the children.
All right, well, let's stay inshore. What do you have for me inshore, Eddie?
Inshore, tarpon on the beach from Boynton up to Jupiter Inlet. We've been throwing live crabs, sardines, or pilchards, and plenty of bait on the beach. Offshore, the blue marlin bite in 150 to 300 pound class off of Lost Tree Village. Live bonita, blue runners, or trolled tuna head lures.
All right, so tell me about the dolphin fishing.
Well, our buddy Sam Eaton got a big one this morning, Rick. He got a 40 pounder, and so it proves anybody can catch him, I guess. It's been good all week, particularly on the days where there's a little bit of wind. The fish, they've been traveling in singles and pairs, not a lot of schools. It's been kind of surprising. There's been a lot of the best action has been in close, shallow as 5 feet of water. Most of the fish have been caught in 70 to 100 feet of water. Sam caught his in 70 feet of water today. The weeds are kind of scattered, so it's been a little tough to troll. Most of the guys have been drifting and freelining live baits like pilchards, threadies, or sardines. 30-pound class outfits, 6.0 live bait hook. Also, a little bit of chumming going on out there, and always watch for the birds, floating debris. And if you hook a fish, of course, keep them in the water. Look for the rest of the school. The average fish have been 6 to 15 pounds, and Sam's 40-pounder was probably the best of the week. The picture there is Lars, and he caught Jack Dolphin live chumming in 104 feet of water off St. Lucie Inlet.
I love the fact that he did that in a bay boat. That's really cool. That's what's so neat about your region. All right, you got any bottom fish report for me?
Yes, sir. The snapper fishing has been outstanding off of Fort Pierce in 65 to 90 feet of water. The largest snapper being taken at night. There's been a good mangrove snapper bite on the 6 Mile Reef, the reef off of Peck Lake, and along the bar in Jupiter in 75 feet of water. A lot of mutton and yellowtail snappers mixed in that mix down south. What you want to do is anchor up and chum with glass minnows, brown chum, or chunk sardines, and then drop down a live sardine, filter, or thready. You can always cut the tails off those baits, add a little more scent. You can also fish dead sardines or cigar minnows on triple hook rigs with good, great results. The average snapper or mangrove has been 1 to 4 pounds. Fish up to 10 pounds been taken at night.
All right, Ed, every week Holiday's got to tell us about the bass fishing. Did he leave you with a good report?
I have a good report. I went peacock bass fishing yesterday, so it was great. It was really awesome. We did the Lake Ida area, but if you like to fish those canals for peacock bass, there's good numbers of fish right now around the bridges or anywhere you can find the moving water. And the water was moving really, really good there in the Lake Ida area. The C2, 4, 8, 9, and 100 canals are on fire right now. In the canals, the fish are working the edges. All the box cut canals were up along the banks. And the hot weather really didn't seem to bother them as much as it did me, because about noon I was done. But, you don't really need to get an early start. But, dawn is when you'll find them kind of schooling up, busting the baits along the edges. We're tossing little tiny torpedoes, little topwater plugs. And once the sun got up good, we were just throwing little tiny terrorize into the bass. You could see them. And those fish are super aggressive. And a lot of times they'll kind of run out and kind of blow your bait out of their bed area. And if you keep firing it back in and firing it back in, you eventually aggravate them enough to where they just crush that thing. And it's really awesome. It's a fishery that, I really haven't done a whole lot of, but it's just a blast when you go down there. It's a lot of fun.
Tell me about the photo, Ed.
That photo was caught, that fish was yesterday, and that was in the Lake Ida area, those canals back in there. I was fishing with Captain Kwazitsky, Palm Beach. I think you know him. He's a good boy. We get along real well, so we went and did a little peacock bass fishing yesterday, and it was kind of fun.
Well, thanks for filling in for Holiday. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots from the Decks and Docks region. Inshore, tarpon on the beach from Boynton Inlet to Jupiter Inlet. Live crab, sardines, or pilchards. And then offshore, blue marlin in 150 to 300 pound class off of the Lost Tree Village. Live bonitas, blue runners, or troll a Kona head lure. You know anything about Kona head lures?
Maybe, but you're a dad, right?
Yeah, okay.
Well, guess what, moms and kids? We are having a real cool dad photo contest in honor of Father's Day.
Yay!
Yay! So here's your chance to win an Okuma rod and reel. Make sure you check out the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report on Facebook to find out how to win. But I think we're having some fun. Is everyone having fun in here, guys?
I'm having fun.
Yeah! All right, we're about to have more fun. We return with the Northwest region, and we're seeing what fun fishing toys Dave has for us at the workbench.
Yeah.
He never disappoints. We'll be right back.
Look who's
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by the Florida Keys and Key West. Come as you are. Hookup Lures, premium lures for serious anglers. FWC, the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission. La Jolla Resort, a place for family and fishermen. Navionics, we start where the road ends. Maverick Boat Company, celebrating 30 years of leadership in innovation, conservation, and stability. And First National Bank, your first choice for better banking.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
You know there's more to it than luck. There's fishing the right bait, the water temperature, the wind, the season, and then there's the boat. We'll put it simply, the boat matters. To own a Contender is to own the best sport fishing boat on the market, period. Contender offers the most comprehensive model range with bigger, faster, and more fuel-efficient boats than the competition. There's only one choice for serious anglers. Contender Boats. Performance through innovation.
All fishermen are created equal. Some just use better fishing line.
We're over here at the CCA workbench talking about new products, but
yes, we are.
Before we get started, Logger Shivers.
Logger Shivers.
All right, he is in the house. That's the heir to the apparent Tabasco assassin. He will
Why
be
not?
in charge. So we got to be nice to him, buddy.
I would like to have a nice box of baits later.
So tell me about some of the new products.
Well, we got some AFCO stuff here. This is some AFTech gear. Start with that other one over there.
Okay,
Excuse me. This is the Ninja 2. It's called a Ninja because it's got a full hood on it. So
right.
You're completely covered up, your face and everything. Keeps the sun off you, obviously. 98% of the UV rays won't go through there. It's very lightweight, very cooling. Wicks the moisture right off you like all these tech shirts do.
Yep.
AFCO makes great stuff, and that's what their Ninja 2. This is the blue camo version.
I like it.
This is the Samurai version. It's 100% polyester. Again, very lightweight, very keeps the sun off you. You know, you notice a lot of these tech shirts have long sleeves. They have long sleeves for a reason. You know, you don't see an Arab fellow walking around in the desert with a wife beater on. He covers himself up, you know, because if you don't have the sun hitting your arms, it's a lot cooler.
Oh.
And I wear, you know, when I wear a shirt offshore, I'm fully covered, head to toe. I don't have anything showing except from a little bit of my calf and down to my toes.
There's only one thing wrong with this shirt.
What's that?
It's an XL.
That's perfect for me. That's why it's for me. That's why it's my shirt, not your shirt. All right, here we got some fish razors. These are actually insiders from Fish Razor, and these are a teaser. You can use these on your dredges. It's kind of like a little flaps. They have these mud flaps now, but these are made out of a tough plastic stuff, so they won't break. They got, a good hole at the bottom and at the front, so you can turn them into daisy chains.
Right.
Or, put a bunch of them on your dredges.
What would you do with this, Dave?
I would put it on a dredge. Fish don't care about the scent. The pelagic fish that we're fishing for, the marlins and stuff, they just want to see that flash and stuff. So I would use them on a dredge or even in a daisy chain.
All right.
These are some new trout trick baits from Z-Man. The trout tricks, that's a 5-inch bait. They come in 14 different colors, very elastic. It's hard to break this stuff. I mean, it's very, 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 very hard to break. And, cool stuff. You use one of these, you don't have to keep using them over and over again. And I think that they come 10 to a pack. They're also coming out, Z-Man's coming out with this little trout eye jig head, which is got a little 3D golden eye in it. They recommend
so good to
you
see
use.
that you read the label. It's 6 to the pack.
Is it 6?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I read something that it was 10 per pack. I even wrote it down, but you know what?
That's okay.
I get stuff wrong sometimes.
Tell me about this electronics unit.
Well, this is a really cool thing. This is a Dragonfly from Ray Marine, and I like it because it's perfect size for my skiff. It's got a 5-inch screen. It'll mount just about anywhere because it's got that. It's got it's a GPS and a sonar. It uses the chirp technology, so it uses navionics charts.
Right.
So you can plug your navionics charts in there. Dual channel chirp with a down vision sonar. It makes a picture, almost like a picture of the structure that's down below.
I like it.
So it's good stuff. And the last thing we got here is a nice Sims shell jacket. It's a Hypolite rain shell, and in Florida, because
very light.
Yes, because it's so hot.
Right.
And it gets rainy and hot. It's a bad combination. This thing is perfect for Florida because it's so light, and you won't sweat like a dog when you put it on immediately, and it keeps the rain off you, and it's good stain resistant, very durable. Sims makes great stuff for all inshore and offshore.
One similar description of that rain suit is a lot like Bree, hot. Right,
oh, wow. Thanks,
How
Rick.
about it?
Well,
not if you didn't notice.
Okay. Behind me is Fish Florida, and they have been so gracious to donate to all the kids here tonight on set a rod and reel. That is awesome. Thank you guys so much. Go to fishflorida.org for more information. But here to talk to you about making some memories on the water is Captain Jeff Hageman from the Northwest region. Hey, Hag.
How you doing? One of the things I really remember growing up is my dad and me going fishing. And the memories created either was going to the lake, sitting on the dock, and him teaching me how to fish, or going out on the flat and teaching me salt water. It's really rewarding. And being a charter boat captain, that's some of my most rewarding charters have been with kids. So if you can get out there, take the kids out fishing. I had some kids out next to me catching tarpon today, 9-year-old, going on one for a while. And it was actually, I just drove around and took pictures of them with my charter. So, get out there, take the kids fishing. With all the lakes and parks and rivers and in our region, you've got no excuse. You can go to local bait shops to get more information. We got a bunch of seminars in our region. Go to a local bait shop and get seminar listings for our region and learn how to fish if you're not a fisherman yourself. Sitting on a dock with a kid, there's nothing better. So get out there and get out there with your dad or your mom and create some memories. But I got a photo here of Victoria with a nice redfish.
Wow.
That's her brother. The next photo with a nice trout. They were caught back to back, one day and one the next night.
They're looking good,
They were
bud.
out there with Grandpa making some memories.
All right, what else you got for
Moving
me?
inshore.
Tarpon?
Captain Rob Gorda out of Tampa Bay reports good tarpon bite along the beach right now. A lot of our fish out of Tampa Bay region have moved out, and they're out there doing their spawn right now. So our hill tides with the crabs flushing out of Egmont Channel is slowed down a bit. They're going to pull back in. A few fish are going to pull back in, but the big mass of our migratory fish have gone offshore to spawn on this moon. So they look for them first thing in the morning around the beaches and around the passes, but first thing in the morning and the afternoons at beaches. The crabs are going to be flushing out in the afternoons, going to suck some of those fish back in, but most of them, like I said, have gone offshore to spawn. So look for them in the next couple of days coming back in and hitting the beaches hard. But also offshore right now, we got mangrove snapper. Bite's really strong right now. This moon we've got, they're piling up, they're concentrating real good. They're getting ready to do their spawn too. Anything that's got high relief structure is going to hold fish from 4 feet of water on out to 100 feet of water. Anything that's going to hold, anything that's got a lot of structure is going to hold these things. Lots of chum, light leader, they got good eyes. Smallest stuff you can get away with. Shrimp, sardines, tailhook shrimp on a jig head looks really good. Fish right now are averaging anywhere from 1 to 3 pounds, and the bigger fish have been a little bit deeper out in that 75-foot to 100-foot range with some good mangrove snapper out there, and also some yellowtail mixed up once you get to that deeper depth. Also, gag grouper and red grouper, good bite anywhere right now, and anywhere from 70 to 130 feet of water. The red grouper up and over the flat rock bottom, and that's flat rock I'm talking about, that Swiss cheese and limestone bottom we've got. Gag grouper are more on the rock piles and ledges. We've got fish up to 12 pounds have been reported pretty plentiful right now. Sardines and live pinfish on a standard bottom rig. You want to use a heavy main line, 60 to 80 pound main line, and 100 to 125 pound leader, and 6/0 to 8/0 VMC circle hook. And you want to use enough lead. We got a lot of current right now with our moon right now, so 6, 8 ounce, sometimes some 10 ounce egg sinkers to get down, depending on the current you're fishing in.
All right, good report, Hag, from the YETI Northwest region. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at the Drummond Community Bank hotspots. Inshore, snook along the beaches and the passes, drift pinfish on the outgoing tide, and then offshore, mangrove snappers on the near and offshore ledges, and rock piles use sardines and shrimp on a knocker rig.
Look it, it's as tall as you are. It's a kids fishing pool.
So
All right, coming up, we're seeing what the kids are catching in the Keys and Northeast regions right here on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, Kids Edition. We'll be right back.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Rapala. Catch the latest at Rapala.com. Startron cures and prevents ethanol fuel problems. YETI Coolers, built for the wild. CCA Florida, the voice of recreational anglers for over 30 years. Strike Zone Fishing. Guy Harvey, marine wildlife artist and conservationist. And Sea Sucker, vacuum mounting systems.
Serious fishermen demand quality equipment on their boats and on shore. That's why Florida boaters have trusted Decks and Docks for over 20 years for dock lumber, hardware, and accessories. Tough products that stand up to the roughest environments, and elegance to please the most discerning homeowner tastes. Decks and Docks, supplying waterfront customers with lumber, decking, and seawall, with 10 locations across Florida.
Which car company has the most 2015 models with a 5-star overall vehicle score for safety? Ranking from top to bottom.
I associate the safety with the luxury vehicles.
Probably Japanese cars.
I think Toyota.
The final answer, Chevy.
Yeah, this is what you want for your family. They thought about me.
Safety is everything. Find your Chevy bonus tag, find your deal, like $2,500 total cash allowance on select cruise vehicles in stock.
Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Hey, we're here at Power Pole headquarters, and today's Power Pole tip of the week is about my favorite power pole. Now, the blade I really like because of how aerodynamic a look it has. It's very sleek looking. Now, Power Pole took a lot of weight out of it by simply drilling the holes here. But make no mistake about it, guys. Whenever you deploy this, it's still just as strong and secure as any other power poles in the past. The other thing that I like is it comes in a variety of different colors. You have a choice of black, white, red, and blue. Now remember this, it also has a 8-foot option or a 10-foot option. So the reason why I like the blade as well is when I'm trying to keep it quiet and I go to put it up, it simply keeps it nice and quiet. Now watch how slow it closes here. That's called the slow close system. That's one of the reasons why I really like the blade, and it only weighs 28 pounds, and that's today's Power Pole Tip of the Week. You know, Bree, the difference in this shallow water anchor than others, you can actually control how fast it goes up or how fast it goes down, or you can slow it down. Guess what? That equates to being more quiet. That's why I
That's
like
important.
it.
Muy importante. Okay, I'm sure the Keys region has plenty of kids who are learning or already love to fish when they're on vacation down there, and a very qualified Captain Randy Tao, who has 3 daughters of his own, is on the line to give us the scoop.
Hey, good evening, fish fans. You know, growing up, when I was a kid coming to the Keys, it was memories that I loved back then, never thinking 20 years, 30 years later, I would be living here and making it my home. But, you know, kids come to the Keys for the experience of a family vacation. They get a taste of fishing. They get on the water, whether it's in the backcountry or it's offshore, and they enjoy it, and they want to come back and do it again. And for families to spend that together time and to make those memories that last a lifetime for young kids. I have young kids on my boat all the time, little girls, young boys, and, you know, the whole trick to it is keeping them entertained. That's one of the key things. If you've got some kids on your boat, whether you're catching grunts or even catching bait, as long as there's activity, as long as that rod's bending, they're happy, they think it's great, and to them, it's like a giant tarpon for us. So it doesn't take a lot to entertain kids, and especially with what we have down here as far as our fishing goes, and it's something that really is it burns into their memories, and then as later on in life, their families, they share with their kids and so on. And I've got some families that I've been fishing with over 3 generations of kids coming down here and fishing, taking advantage of what we got here. So kids today are really the inspiration for a lot of us guys to share our knowledge and what we know on the water with them, and they take it to the next level as they grow up.
All right, you ready to go inshore?
You know, we got to talk about tarpon a little bit. It's tarpon season. You know, here we are into June. The Gold Cup tarpon tournament's going on right now. And, you know, the tarpon fishing got a little lean, and mainly due because of the 20-knot winds. We had some heavy winds, you know, latter part of the week over the weekend, and it makes things tough. You know, these fish will go to the bottom. They won't show on the surface as much, and that's why you hear everybody get excited when the weather gets calm this time of year, because the tarpon like to come up to the surface. They like to roll. They like to bust, and that usually means you're going to find some in the backcountry. So the conditions and the weather really play a key part on our tarpon fishing. You know, we still have some around the bridges right now. Most guys are drifting crabs early in the morning or that last hour before the sun goes down and doing pretty well on bait. And you've got guys out on the ocean side still throwing at the fish. Now they're migrating up to the north here. Just a few weeks ago, they were migrating to the south. Now these fish have turned around and they're going the other way. And that's kind of the cycle we get into around June like this. I've got a photo of Andy Provak from St. Pete fishing with me the other day with a nice tarpon he caught right around the Islamorada bridges.
All right, Randy, let's go offshore, Buck.
You know, mutton snappers, I talk about mutton snappers a lot. They're one of the favorite bottom fish right now, and it's something that you can target. Not only are they great eating, but they're a lot of fun to catch. They fight real hard, and guys have now just made it something that they target, like our yellowtails and our dolphin and so forth. The mutton snappers, whether it's on the edge of the reef where you're maybe yellowtailing and you drop a bait down for a mutton snapper, or you're drifting, which I like to do out in the deeper water, and drifting around some of these deeper wrecks and stuff. Pablo Rodriguez, one of the guys down in the lower Keys, he does a lot of mutton snapper fishing along the edge of the reef as well as out on some of the deeper rocky spots, and they drift around and catch these. One guy in particular, I can tell you, Captain George Campbell fishes out of Hawks Cay Marina in his boat, the Snapshot. He is one of the guys, I've got a photo of him with some of the muttons he's been catching. And this guy, when I tell you he knows how to do this, the picture speaks for itself.
All right, quickly on the dolphin there, Pop.
You know, dolphin fishing was kind of slow. It got good over the weekend. The weather's getting nice. Right now there's a lot of bird activity, and we still got weeds. We have weeds everywhere, just miles and miles of scattered weed, which is frustrating. When you put your baits out, you're getting weeds on them constantly. But there's still some dolphin around. We didn't do so good today. We caught a few schoolies, but you know, the guys that catch the bigger ones, they're focusing on the birds, they're watching their behavior, and they've got a tuna tower where they can look down and see those big fish swimming. I've got a photo of Captain Pablo Rodriguez with Eric from Eric's Outboards with some of the dolphin they've been catching down in the lower keys.
Boy, looks like dinner to me. All right, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the La Jolla hotspots from the Florida Keys. Captain Randy says this weekend you need to go inshore tarpon fishing. Fish early in the morning with crabs, start drifting near the bridge, and then let the current take you right on out into the bay. And then offshore, dolphin. Look for those birds in 500 to 800 feet of water. Troll south or west to intercept the birds that are flying southwest or northeast. That's kind of a cool clue.
That is a cool clue.
I know you know that one.
I know that. Okay, guys, before we move on to tell you about some tournaments in the Florida Keys, let's make our best fish face. Ready, go. Perfect. I see every one of you, and you all look like a fish. All right. Moving on to the tournaments in the Keys. You can fish with some of your favorite former Hurricane sports stars at the University of Miami Sports Hall of Fame Celebrity Dolphin Tournament, June 26th and 27th in Isla Mirada. Among several charities, proceeds benefit Habitat for Humanity of the Upper Keys and the UM Sports Hall of Fame. The Del Brown Permit Tournament, set for July 11th through the 14th in Key West, honors the late namesake angler who caught and released more than 500 permit on fly off the Keys in his lifetime. The Bacardi Oakart Key West Marlin Tournament, scheduled for July 22nd to the 25th, features $50,000 in guaranteed cash prizes, including a $25,000 award to the first place team. The contest is held each year during Key West's annual Hemingway Days Festival. The Hooked on Kids charity fishing tournament, set for August 6th through the 7th, is headquartered at the Marriott Key Largo Bay Beach Resort. And now it's time to hear from our trusty correspondent in the Florida Keys, Andy Newman. Fish face.
Well, hi guys. The Isla Mirada Dolphin Tournament, set for July 10th to the 12th, is offering up a guaranteed $15,000 in cash and prizes. Now, it's organized by the Isla Mirada Charter Boat Association, and the competition offers prizes based on the heaviest combined weight of 3 dolphin. There's also awards for the largest dolphin, largest blackfin tuna, bonito, wahoo, and kingfish. More details at islamiradatcharterboatassociation.org or by calling 305-522-4868. And more information on other tournaments in the Keys, go to flakeys.com. Back to you in the studio.
Thank you, Andy. Okay, guys, in the Northeast region is Captain Tommy Gerender and his cute little girl who loves to fish.
She does, Bree. Hey, guys, you know, there really isn't anything better than watching a kid catch a fish. You know, I'm always excited to have kids on my boat. And, you know, we've got a ton of opportunities here in the Strike Zone Northeast region for kids to go fishing. You know, we've got the St. Augustine, Jacksonville, and the Flagler Beach piers, and those are all great places to take a kid fishing. You know, we also have quite a few public parks that are right on the water, both in the salt and the fresh stuff. Now, one great way to get kids involved in fishing is to join one of the fishing clubs we have here in the Northeast region. Now, there's the Ancient City Game Fish Association, the Flagler Sport Fishing Club, and the Jacksonville Offshore Sport Fishing Club, and that's just to name a few. Now, all these clubs are heavily involved with kids fishing and have numerous clinics and fishing tournaments throughout the year just for the kids. Now, of course, all our local bait and tackle shops are going to be more than happy to help you get your kids set up with the right stuff for a day of fishing, and they can pretty much point you in the right direction when it comes to places to fish. Now, our inshore fishery here in the Northeast region is perfect for kids fishing, as the redfish, trout, and the flounder, they can be caught year-round, and they put up just enough fight for any kid, no matter what age or skill level, and they can have a lot of fun catching them. Now, right now, the redfish are loaded up in the creek holes at low tide, and the jacks are all over the place inshore. So if you're looking to bend a rod, it's a great time to get out there with your kids right now. Now, speaking of getting out there with your kids, I've got a picture here. This is my 2-year-old daughter, Avon, and I, with her first ever redfish she caught this past weekend, with just a little bit of help from Dada.
Wow.
Almost just as exciting as watching her catch that fish was hearing the first words out of her mouth that morning when something like, "I'm going to catch a redfish this big." And then she did it, so that was a really exciting experience.
That's cool, Tommy. All right, what else you got for us inshore?
All right, you know, the flounder bite's been pretty consistent this week, and I spoke to Captain Rob Bennett from coastalfishcharters.com, and he tells me he's been catching quite a few flounder on that last of the outgoing tide. Now, he's targeting the small runouts in the bigger creeks from the Volano Bridge in St. Augustine all the way up to the Palm Valley Bridge. Now, Captain Rob says you want to drag a big mud minnow or a small finger mullet on a 1/4-ounce jig head through those runouts just about as slow as you can, and you're going to want to wait for that flounder thump. Now, he says you're going to want to make sure to give them a few seconds before you set the hook, as they tend to grab that minnow from the back and then work their way towards the hook. Now, there's also some good-sized flounder on some of the real near-shore wrecks right now, and you can use the same baits I mentioned before, but I would switch to a fish finder rig with enough weight to get it to the bottom. I got another photo here. This is Jamie Warner with a nice flounder he caught using a mud minnow and jig head combo while he was fishing with Captain Rob. Now, moving offshore, I spoke with Captain Jason Hadges from jhookfishingcharters.com, and he tells me the grouper bite is really good right now. Now, he's been catching some really nice scamps and grays on the ledges in about 100 to 130 feet deep. Now, Captain Jason says that live bait has been best, and he's been using either grunts or some big pinfish rigged on an 8 to 10-aught VMC circle hook. Now, he likes to use at least a 100-pound leader, but he's been ramping it up a little bit to 150 pounds as there's been some really big grouper out there. Now, he says one secret to getting those big fish out of those holes is to make sure you anchor up current from the ledge you're fishing, and that way you've got a good chance of getting them out of the structure. Now, I got another photo here. This is Captain Jason and his son Braden with a nice pair of gag groupers they caught this weekend aboard his boat, the J-Hook. Now, also offshore, you know, we're really getting into kingfish tournament season this month, and the kings have shown up both on the beach and near shore. I spoke with kingfish tournament angler Nate Stewart. He tells me most of his fish this week have been coming up off the top as the sharks, especially along the beach, have been wreaking havoc on those downrigger baits. Now, where the water has been really clean, Nate says you're going to be wanting to use at least 15 foot of 25-pound fluorocarbon before your number 5 wire stinger rig. Now, he says right now, the bigger the bait, the better. The pogies that are on the beach right now are fairly small, so he's been getting out before sunrise and catching some bluefish on the dock lights and using those blues for bait. He says you're going to want to troll them as slow as possible, and don't be afraid to use that really, really big bait, because that's what those big kings have been eating. You know, guys, hey, real quick, I just wanted to mention that if you're looking for that perfect Father's Day gift, head on up to Strike Zone. You know they're going to have you covered.
All right, great report from the Strike Zone Northeast region. Tommy, we're going to go ahead and take a look at the hot spots. Inshore, redfish and flounder. On the early morning low tide, fish the creeks and holes in the runouts right along the ICW with finger mullet or mud minnows on a 1/4-ounce jig head. And then offshore, grouper, 100 to 130 foot depths. Fish the ledges that are holding bait with live grunts, pinfish. Make sure that you bump up your leader size for the big fish.
The big kahuna. You know what, Rick? These kids are behaving so well. I'm so proud of you guys. Famous last words growing up are we there yet? And yes, we're almost there. But coming up, we have the Costa Conservation Minute Tip and a bit of wise words from the Southeast region. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report Kids Edition. Hey, Allie.
The Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report is brought to you by Chevrolet. Find new roads. Yamaha. Reliability starts here. Suffix. The world's most hardcore fishing line. The IGFA. Conservation through education. Get your hands wet. Florida Outdoor Experience. Captain Harry's Fishing Supply Company. And there's no stopping Okuma.
Introducing Helmmaster, Yamaha's first fully integrated digital boat control system. With Helmmaster, you can start your outboards with a swipe of a fob and control them with a single lever. Outboard trim and steering friction adjust automatically as you accelerate and decelerate. Adjust engine speed with the touch of a button. The Helmmaster joystick provides the means to navigate and dock precisely with confidence and ease. Take control of your next vessel with Helmmaster at your command.
Introducing the YETI Hopper. Leak-proof, ice for days, tough as nails. Built to go the extra mile, and then some.
Remember the glory days of gasoline? It's just not made the same anymore.
Kick your gas into gear with StarTron. Pump up the performance in all of your engines. Cure the problems of ethanol with the power of enzymes. And maximize your mileage every time you drive. Kickstart your engines with StarTron.
Can a truck change how people feel about a guy? We talk to real people, not actors. We showed them two pictures of the same guy in the same location. The only difference, the vehicle behind him.
The guy with the truck would definitely have like a German Shepherd dog. I mean, come on. Like a tarantula, a rattlesnake.
What kind of pet would this guy have?
Maybe like some birds.
You know you want a truck. The all-new Chevy Colorado. Motor Trend's 2015 Truck of the Year.
Chances are you spent a lot of time in the outdoors when you were growing up. Hours spent fishing, hunting, camping, hiking, or simply playing in the outdoors help you get connected with nature. Sadly, today's children are disconnected from nature. They spend nearly 8 hours a day on computers or watching TV while the numbers of kids hunting and fishing continues to decline. That's why the Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission, together with the Wildlife Foundation of Florida, created the FYCCN, the Florida Youth Conservation Center networks, to encourage kids to participate in the outdoors. A statewide network of conservation centers, the FYCCN features wild outdoor centers offering deep wood experiences that connect to near outdoor sites in the community where kids live. If you want to help, you can learn more about the great outdoors and become stewards of our precious outdoor heritage. You can help by creating the next generation that cares. Go to fyccn.org to learn more.
3, 2.
And last but not least, for our kids, I mean captains tonight, that is Captain Jimbo Thomas from the Southeast region. Hey, Jimbo.
Hey, Bree.
What's
How
going
we
on?
doing?
What's going on,
Pretty
Jimbo?
good, getting crabby and set.
Well, you know, over the course of the year, we do get a lot of kids out fishing aboard the Thomas Flyer. What I found is that they will get bored or lose interest real quick if there isn't some kind of action going on, kind of like myself. And a lot of days, just catching bait can be a highlight. A great way to keep everyone occupied is to anchor up on the shallow patch reefs and fish light spinning rods, which are easy for the young anglers to handle, and fish with live or dead shrimp and cut bait for small snappers and grunts. Now, most everything's going to be throwbacks, but the action's usually nonstop, and everybody keeps busy. Now, I don't do much inshore fishing, but the same tactic can be used inshore around any kind of structure, and the seas are usually much calmer inshore, too. Now, if you don't have a boat, fish can be caught off any of the fishing piers. There's plenty of great freshwater fishing in the local canals and lakes for brim and bass. Now, you don't have to spend a fortune on tackle. A good quality light spinning outfit and a few hooks and lures can be bought at any of the local tackle shops like Captain Harry's, relatively cheap. And here in the Southeast region, there are a couple of youth fishing programs and camps. Captain Mike Fuller aboard the Lisa L out of Key Biscayne runs a summer school of fish, which is a totally hands-on offshore sport fishing experience for ages 7 and up. And then Captain Wayne Kahn, who operates the Reward boats out of Miami, he runs youth educational fishing programs and day camps called Kids Let's Go Fishing. And kids under 12 get to fish for free aboard his party boats with paid adults. So let's get these future charter boat captains and TV show hosts out fishing. And now I got a photo here. Here's a happy young angler with a kingfish that we caught a couple weeks ago aboard the Thomas Flyer.
That's AD. How about that, AD? He's on TV. All right, let's go ahead and stay inshore. What do you got?
You got it. Well, there's been some good sea trout fishing in North Biscayne Bay from Venetian Causeway north to Oliver Inlet on any of the grass flats that are holding bait. Look for the birds to point out the schools of small pilchards and glass minnows that these sea trout are following in 3 to 8 feet of water, and fish for them with small live baits under Cajun Thunder or a 1/4 ounce hookup or Bass Assassin jig head tipped with a Gulp shrimp. The trout have been up to 4 pounds. There's also been some nice-sized mangrove snapper mixed in with these trout. Now, moving offshore, dolphin fishing has been really good or just so-so, depending on who you speak to. All of the sargassum weed that was coming through with fish last week, that's kind of dried up, and the successful boats have been heading offshore 5 to 10 miles in search of floating debris and birds working over the top of the fish. And, of course, that sargassum reappears, which can happen overnight with the current. The fish will also reappear. Now, there have been frigate birds and terns working over schools of mixed-sized fish, and the fish have been traveling to the south. Fish have been about 50-50 on keepers and throwbacks, but once you do find them, they've been hungry, and they're eating trolled baits, live and cut baits. And then anything of size floating has also been holding fish, and the size has been a little better on the floating debris with fish up to 20 pounds. Now, also offshore, there's been some great kingfish action along the edge of the Gulf Stream in 90 to 150 feet of water. Now, down in the south end of the region, in the Miami area, we're only getting a few king bites, but in the north end, around Hillsborough and Boynton Inlet, bites have been better, and the fish have been biting live pilchards, herrings, and goggle eyes under the kite or on the drift, and then trolling the planer with the pink sea witch and a bonita strip. That's also been getting some bites. And most of these kings have been in the 10-pound range, and there's been a few fish up to 25 pounds mixed in.
All right, great report, Jimbo. We're going to go ahead and take a look at the First National Bank hotspots from the southeast region. Inshore, fish artificials with small live baits under floats and sea corks in North Biscayne Bay. And then offshore, look for the schoolies under the birds, floating debris and weeds in 5 to 1,200 feet of water offshore. Bree.
All right, Rick, the kids' party's almost over, but stay tuned for what Captain Rick, myself, and Dave are diving into next week, only on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. You're on TV.
When we created the Silverado Rally Edition, we figured, why stop there? These 4 new Silverado Special Editions are just the beginning. From this year's fastest-growing full-size truck brand, Chevy Silverado. Or choose this Silverado All-Star with a total value of $8,000 when you finance through select lenders, and find your bonus tag and get an additional $1,000 to $2,000 cash allowance on select vehicles in stock.
It's 200 streamlined horsepower of Yamaha forward thinking. The all-new F200 inline 4-stroke. Whether you're an offshore angler, pontoon cruiser, bay boater, or walleye hunter, the responsive and fuel-efficient F200 combines amazing power and versatility in one incredibly compact and lightweight package. The all-new F200. Legendary Yamaha reliability and the freedom of forward thinking.
Forage fish are small fish that hold marine food webs together. Put simply, forage fish like pilchards turn sunshine into snook. The IGFA and other conservation organizations are working with the FWC to improve forage fish management in Florida. Ensuring that there's enough food in the water for our game fish will maintain Florida's legacy as the fishing capital of the world. Visit floridaforagefish.org to learn more and to sign the Forage Fish Pledge.
Thanks for tuning in to the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter to keep up with our captains, contests, and appearances. You never have to miss a show. You can find full episodes of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report right on your YouTube channel. And make sure to check out our website for fishing reports in your region. Visit www.ChevyFloridaInsiderFishingReport.com for everything you need to know to stay hooked up. This week on the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report, it's all about grouper, so be sure to tune in to SunSports every Thursday. Plus, you can catch repeats of the Chevy Florida Insider Fishing Report on Fridays and Saturdays. Check your local listings for times. This was so great, guys, and you know what? All of you kids are going to get a swag bag from our sponsors with Florida Keys, Tinsley, Starbright, AFCO, Guy Harvey,
Chevy, Rapala, Navionics, Guy Harvey, First National Bank.
Wow.
Bass and Saltwater Assassin, CCA, and did we have fun today, guys?
All that stuff. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, we did. Thank you so much. These kids are going to get on the water.
Allie, thank you so much for coming and bringing your little man. You know what, Bree, we got to recognize Chastain Whitfield. She does a great job exposing all the kids over in Sarasota.
Yes, she
and we
does.
appreciate your hard work. Keep up the good job,
Getting the kids
Chastain.
out there fishing. Thank you so
That's
much.
right. Say
Happy
bye.
Father's Day, guys. We're so excited.
So what are we going to do for Father's Day,
We're going to
Dave?
go
I'm not
fishing.
You going fishing?
Yeah.
I'm going fishing.
I'm going fishing. I don't know about you.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Bye, Ella. Give me a kiss.
Everybody wave bye and say give your favorite
Say
fish
bye.
face.
Bye.